Welcome to Seniors Gardening Advice. I'm Sam, and I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with me. Right here in my zone 6B to 7A garden, we're experiencing something magical. While most folks think the gardening season is winding down, my outdoor space is absolutely bursting with incredible perennial blooms that'll take your breath away. Friends, creating a garden that delivers stunning color from early spring through late autumn isn't just a dream. It's completely achievable with the right perennials. And I'm going to prove it to you with these remarkable perennial powerhouses that are putting on their best show right now in mid-September. If you're passionate about keeping your garden vibrant when others are fading, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because Seniors Gardening Advice is your go-to resource for extending your growing season with incredible perennials. Give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to transform your autumn garden, and stick around because I've got 10 phenomenal perennials that are absolute game changers for late season color. Perennial number 1. Heptacodium, Seven Suns Flower. Let's kick things off with an absolute showstopper that many gardeners overlook, the magnificent Heptacodium, commonly called Seven Suns Flower. The specific variety I'm showcasing here is Temple of Bloom. And let me tell you, this perennial has exceeded every expectation I had when I planted it 2 growing seasons ago. This remarkable perennial offers incredible versatility in your landscape design. You can maintain it as a substantial shrub, or with some strategic pruning, over time, train it into a stunning tree with either a single trunk or attractive multiple stems. The transformation possibilities are endless. Throughout spring and summer, this perennial provides beautiful structural interest with its large, glossy green foliage that create wonderful texture in the garden. But September is when the real magic happens. The entire perennial becomes covered in masses of pristine white flowers that create an absolutely stunning display. The pollinator activity on this perennial is incredible. Right now, I can count dozens of bees work in these blooms, and butterflies visit regularly throughout the day. It's like having a pollinator-magnet in your garden that provides crucial late-season nectar when many other sources have finished blooming. Here's something really special about Heptacodium. The show doesn't end when the white flowers fade. The calices, which are the outer parts of the flowers, transform into bright red bracts that make it appear as though the entire perennial is blooming again with bright red flowers. This second act of color extends the visual interest well into autumn. Even in winter, this perennial continues to contribute to your garden's beauty. The bark naturally peels and exfoliates, revealing interesting patterns and textures that provide structure and visual appeal during the dormant season. This 4-season interest makes Heptacodium an exceptional investment for any garden. Perennial number 2, Vernonia or Ironweed. Moving over to my raised bed area, I want to introduce you to a native perennial powerhouse that deserves a place in every late-season garden, Vernonia, also known as Ironweed. This particular variety is called Summer Surrender, and it exemplifies why native perennials should be the backbone of every gardening strategy. I established this perennial just 1 season ago, and the performance has been absolutely outstanding. What makes Vernonia particularly valuable is its role as a crucial late-season nectar source for pollinators when many other flowers have finished their show. Monarch butterflies, native bees, and other beneficial insects rely heavily on perennials like this for their autumn migration and preparation for winter. Another fantastic benefit is that deer completely avoid this perennial. If you struggle with deer browsing in your garden, Vernonia provides beautiful color without the frustration of damaged plants. The deep purple flowers create stunning contrast against the green foliage and complement other autumn colors beautifully. This perennial variety reaches approximately 48 inches in height and is incredibly hardy, thriving in zones 4 through 9. However, I'm excited to share that there's a new compact variety being introduced in 2026 that will only reach 3 feet by 3 feet, making it suitable for smaller spaces and front-of-border plantings. The sturdy stems and substantial root system make Vernonia an excellent choice for areas that might experience strong autumn winds. Once established, it's extremely drought-tolerant and requires minimal maintenance while delivering maximum impact.
Perennial number 3, Calamintha, Calamint. In this established border, I want to highlight a perennial that I featured in my August blooming video, but it's reached its absolute peak performance now in September. Calamintha, also known as calamint. The variety I'm growing is Montrose White, and the transformation since last month has been remarkable. What started as scattered early blooms has now developed into dense clouds of small white flowers that completely cover the perennial. The effect is almost like a white foam spreading across the garden, creating incredible texture and movement. One of my favorite characteristics of Calamintha is its delightful minty fragrance. Every time you brush against the foliage or deadhead spent flowers, you're rewarded with this refreshing scent that makes garden maintenance a pleasure rather than a chore. This aromatic quality comes from its membership in the Nepeta family, which includes all the catmints. The pollinator activity on Calamintha is constant throughout the day. Small native bees, hoverflies, and butterflies work these tiny flowers continuously, and the long blooming period provides consistent nectar availability from midsummer through the first hard frost. This perennial is incredibly low maintenance once established. It tolerates drought well, requires no fertilization, and the more you cut it back, the more it blooms. It naturally forms an attractive mounded shape that works beautifully in both formal and cottage garden settings.
Perennial 4, Sedum varieties. Right behind the Calamintha, we encounter a perennial family that absolutely defines the September garden, Sedum. These succulent perennials are absolutely essential for late-season color and provide some of the most reliable blooms you can count on year after year. Sedum thrives in full sun locations with excellent drainage. The thick, fleshy stems and leaves store water, making these perennials incredibly drought-tolerant once established. This water storage capability is key to their late-season performance when many other perennials are struggling with heat and reduced moisture. The key to success with sedum is avoiding overwatering and ensuring sharp drainage. When grown in soggy conditions or overly rich soil, the stems become weak and the perennial tends to split open in the center, creating an unattractive appearance. Give them lean, well-draining soil and full sun, and they'll reward you with sturdy, upright growth and abundant flowers. The perennial variety I'm featuring prominently here is Matrona, which is incredibly popular for good reason. It reaches 25 to 30 inches in height and features distinctive dark purple stems that provide color interest even before the flowers appear. The flower heads are substantial and long-lasting, maintaining their beauty for weeks. Behind Matrona, I have a lower-growing perennial variety called Sunsparkler Dazzleberry Stonecrop. This variety offers beautiful dark foliage throughout the growing season and produces masses of flowers in late summer that continue into autumn. It's just finishing its bloom period now, but you can see how it creates wonderful textural contrast with its ground cover habit. The beauty of sedum is the incredible range of perennial varieties available. From tiny ground covers to substantial upright types, there's a sedum for every garden situation and design need.
Perennial number 5, Dendranthema, Clara Chrysanthemum. I recently discovered an exceptional late-season bloomer that I'm absolutely excited to share with you, the Clara Chrysanthemum, which has recently been reclassified as Dendranthema. The delicate pink blooms are absolutely enchanting and offer a softer alternative to typical fall mums. This perennial reaches about 15 inches in height, making it perfect for front-of-border plantings or container gardens. The flowers have an incredibly delicate, daisy-like appearance that's quite different from the dense, ball-shaped blooms of traditional chrysanthemums. The color is particularly appealing, a soft, light shade of pink with purple undertones that coordinates beautifully with other autumn blooms. It's sophisticated and subtle, yet provides excellent visual impact when planted in groups. This perennial variety is remarkably hardy, performing well in zones 4 through 9 and adapts to both full sun and partial sun conditions. It prefers well-drained soil and benefits from spacing of 12 to 18 inches between plants to ensure good air circulation. The butterfly activity on these perennial flowers is exceptional. The open, accessible flower form makes it easy for butterflies to reach the nectar, and the timing of the blooms coincides perfectly with late-season butterfly activity and migration patterns.
Perennial number 6, hydrangeas and companion plantings. Here in my patio bed, we have a wonderful example of how to layer different perennials for continuous color and interest throughout the growing season. The foundation planting consists of firelight tidbit hydrangeas that are now showing their gorgeous autumn transformation. These compact perennial hydrangeas begin the season with white flowers that gradually shift to soft pink tones as temperatures cool. By September, they've developed these beautiful rosy pink hues that provide the perfect backdrop for other autumn bloomers. Interspersed among the hydrangeas, I've planted annual dahlias that are absolutely loaded with bright yellow blooms. Dahlias actually perform at their absolute best during the late summer and early fall period. While many flowers are winding down, dahlias are just hitting their stride and will continue blooming until the first hard frost. The combination of the soft pink perennial hydrangeas with the vibrant yellow dahlias creates a sophisticated color harmony that's both cheerful and elegant. This type of companion planting extends the season of interest and ensures that there's always something beautiful to look at.
Perennial number 7, Joe Pyeweed. Rising above this colorful display is a native perennial that's been performing beautifully for about a month now, Joe Pyeweed. This substantial perennial provides both height and exceptional pollinator value to the late-season garden. Joe Pyeweed is one of the most important native perennials for supporting biodiversity. The large flower heads attract an incredible variety of butterflies, bees, and beneficial insects. Monarch butterflies particularly favor this perennial during their autumn migration, making it an essential addition to any pollinator-friendly garden. The architectural quality of Joe Pyeweed makes it an excellent background perennial for shorter perennials. Its substantial height and sturdy stems provide structure and vertical interest that helps organize the garden visually. This perennial is incredibly long-blooming, with individual flower heads lasting for weeks and new buds continuing to open over an extended period. The nectar production is substantial, making it a crucial food source when many other perennials have finished flowering.
Perennial number 8, Chelone, turtlehead. Right below the Joe Pyeweed, I want to introduce you to a fascinating native perennial that's perfect for September blooms, Chelone, commonly known as turtlehead. This perennial gets its common name from the unique shape of its individual flowers, which really do resemble tiny turtle heads when you examine them closely. The flowers are quite distinctive and unlike anything else in the perennial garden. They're produced in dense spikes at the top of sturdy stems, creating substantial color impact. This perennial variety produces beautiful rosy pink blooms, though white varieties are also available for those who prefer softer colors. Chelone typically reaches 24 to 30 inches in height and forms substantial clumps over time. It's an incredibly reliable perennial performer that requires minimal care once established. The plants are quite hardy and tolerate a wide range of growing conditions. This is truly a workhorse perennial for the late-season garden. It begins blooming in late August and continues well into October, providing consistent color when many other perennials are finishing their show. The flowers are also excellent for cutting and last well in arrangements.
Perennial number 9, Caryopteris, bluebeard. I'm excited to introduce a new addition to my garden, Caryopteris, also known as bluebeard.
This is another exceptional late-season pollinator perennial that will eventually grow into a substantial shrub, measuring approximately 3 feet by 3 feet. The perennial variety I've chosen is Beyond Midnight, which features deep purple-blue flowers that are absolutely stunning. The blooms appear in dense clusters along the stems, creating a cloud-like effect that's quite different from typical perennial flowers. Caryopteris is particularly valuable because it bridges the gap between perennials and shrubs, providing the substantial presence of a woody plant with the seasonal color impact of perennials. The flowering period extends from late summer well into fall, making it an essential component of the late-season garden. The pollinator activity on Caryopteris is incredible. Bees work the perennial flowers constantly throughout the day, and the long blooming period provides consistent nectar availability during the crucial late-season period when pollinators are preparing for winter or migration. I'm planting this perennial specimen in a corner location where it will have room to develop its full size. It will complement the existing peony foliage beautifully, providing spring interest from the peony and late-season color from the Caryopteris.
Perennial number 10, Japanese Anemone. The final perennial I want to share represents one of my absolute favorite late-season perennials, Japanese Anemone. I featured a different variety last month, but because I love these perennials so much, I grow several different cultivars that bloom at different times, extending the anemone season from August through October. This September-blooming perennial variety is Honorine Jobert, and it produces the most ethereal white flowers imaginable. The blooms have a classic, timeless quality that works beautifully in both formal and naturalistic garden settings. Japanese anemones typically reach 24 to 30 inches in height and prefer soil that retains some moisture while still draining well. They're quite different from many other perennials in this regard. They don't want to be drought-stressed, but they also can't tolerate wet feet. One characteristic to be aware of is that Japanese anemones spread through underground runners when they're happy with their growing conditions. This can be seen as either an advantage or a challenge depending on your garden situation. I personally love how they naturalize and create drifts of flowers, and they're easy enough to remove if they spread beyond where you want them. The blooms of Japanese anemones have an almost luminous quality, especially in the softer light of morning and evening. They seem to glow from within and create stunning focal points in the perennial garden.
Additional September stars. Beyond these featured perennials, there are several other categories that deserve mention for their September performance. Ornamental grasses are absolutely essential for late-season gardens, providing movement, texture, and architectural interest that complements flowering perennials beautifully. I grow several perennial varieties, including the tall and elegant Carl Förster feather reed grass that reaches about 4 feet in height, but maintains a relatively narrow 2 to 2.5 foot spread. The wheat-like plumes are gorgeous this time of year and will persist well into winter. For more intimate spaces, I have Carly Rose fountain grass with its pink-tinged plumes that catch the light beautifully, and Little Bunny dwarf fountain grass that's perfect for front-of-border locations. Knockout roses deserve special recognition for their incredible season-long performance. These landscape roses bloom continuously from late May through October here in my Zone 6B to 7A garden. The variety I feature is Double Pink Knockout, which produces lovely bubblegum pink blooms that coordinate beautifully with other autumn colors. Asters represent another essential perennial group for late-season color. The perennial variety I'm particularly excited about is Vernonia Munch, which produces masses of lavender-blue daisy-like flowers. This variety has exceptional garden performance and a tidy growth habit that makes it perfect for mid-border plantings. Finally, I want to mention the incredible diversity available within the sedum perennial family. In addition to the varieties I showed earlier, I also grow sedum neon, with its vibrant chartreuse foliage and pink blooms. This perennial variety creates stunning contrast and adds a bright accent to autumn plantings.
Seasonal garden strategy.
Creating a garden that performs beautifully in September requires thinking beyond the traditional spring and early summer focus that many gardeners have. Late-season blooming perennials like these provide crucial resources for wildlife, while extending your enjoyment of the garden well into autumn. The key is selecting perennials that naturally peak during this period, rather than trying to extend spring bloomers beyond their natural season. These September star perennials are programmed to perform at their best when many other plants are winding down. Planning for late-season color also involves considering how these perennials will interact with the changing light quality and cooler temperatures of autumn. Many of these perennials actually benefit from the more moderate conditions and look their absolute best when temperatures begin to cool. I encourage you to share what's currently blooming in your September perennial garden in the comments below. Garden communities thrive when we share our successes and learn from each other's experiences. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour of September blooming perennials. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with fellow gardening enthusiasts, and make sure you're subscribed to Seniors Gardening Advice for more seasonal gardening inspiration. Until next time, keep growing and keep blooming.